In the vast North Pacific Ocean, a team of researchers arrives to study the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and its devastating impact on marine life. As they begin filming their documentary, they suddenly pick up the signal of a shark they've been tracking for an entire year. The signal is moving closer, fast. Divers quickly suit up and enter the water. After searching for a while, they come across the carcass of a baby whale tangled in fishing nets. It's the second one they've discovered in just 3 weeks. Upon closer inspection, they see the whale's stomach filled with plastic, and a large bite mark carved into its side. Suddenly, a shark glides past Chris, startling him, but it doesn't attack. Realizing this isn't the shark they've been monitoring, Chris warns that more sharks are nearby. His suspicion proves true as the group soon finds themselves surrounded by several large, uneasy sharks. Watching through the monitors, Chris's wife, Sophia, notices something unusual. All the sharks are female and each one is enormous. Then the shark they've been following finally emerges from the depths. They call her Lilith. The team is stunned. 3 months ago she was only 2.5 meters long. Now she's a massive 7 meters. Concerned, Chris insists they should head back, but Sophia urges him to collect a blood sample first. Nervously, Chris approaches and tries to pierce Lilith's skin. The attempt enrages her and she bolts away. The divers agree it's time to retreat, but Lilith circles them rapidly, her agitation building. From the control room, Sophia loses visual contact as the camera cuts out. All she can do is listen in horror as the sounds of chaos erupt. Her husband and his crew being slaughtered by the furious predator. Desperate and grief-stricken, Sophia grabs a harpoon and dives into the water. There she's met with a horrifying sight, Chris's severed arm floating in front of her. She pushes forward, determined to find Lilith. Moments later, the massive shark reappears. At first, Lilith moves slowly, almost calm, then she suddenly charges. Sophia fires the harpoon, striking her, which sends the shark thrashing and fleeing in anger. But in the struggle, Sophia becomes tangled in the fishing net caught on Lilith's fin and is dragged down into the dark depths. As the crushing pressure damages her ears, she pulls out a knife and cuts herself free, then desperately swims back toward the surface. 3 years later, in Paris, 2 men are magnet fishing in the river when they unexpectedly pull up an old bomb. Police and reporters rush to the scene. Officer Ottel assures the media that the bombshell is inactive, explaining that remnants from World War II are still occasionally found in the river, but none have ever caused harm. Meanwhile, Sophia now works at an aquarium, teaching children about the importance of protecting marine life. But the kids mock her, cruelly reminding her of the tragic loss of her team to the shark attack. Overwhelmed by guilt and grief, Sophia storms out, distraught. At that moment, a woman named Mika approaches her, with unsettling news about Lilith's tracking signal. Mika brings Sophia to SOS, her ocean conservation group. Every member there admires Sophia's work and has used her research to protect sharks. Mika introduces Sophia to her girlfriend, Ben, a skilled tech expert who tracks Lilith's signal using her computer. Sophia, baffled, insists that's impossible. Her servers are fully secured. But Ben smiles and explains that with modern tools, almost any system can be accessed. What's more shocking is that Lilith's beacon has been transmitting from the same location in the river running through Paris for the past 3 days. Sharks can't survive in freshwater, which means something unnatural is happening. Mika believes this behavior might be linked to climate change and pollution altering animal instincts. She thinks Lilith isn't hunting, just lost and struggling to survive. Determined to help, Mika plans to dive that night to try communicating with her, hoping to guide the shark back to the sea. At the same time, news spreads of an accident at the bridge where a car plunged into the river, the driver still missing. Mika invites Sophia to join the mission, but Sophia refuses, calling the plan reckless and storms off. Back home, Sophia can't stop thinking about Lilith. She opens her old research equipment and watches archived footage of her and Chris during their expeditions. Seeing Lilith on the screen triggers a flood of grief and she breaks down crying. Finally, she powers up the beacon tracker, and the data confirms Mika's story. Lilith is indeed in Paris. That night, Mika and Ben sail quietly along the river toward the bridge. Mika dives into the murky water, struggling to see through the thick pollution. She locates the submerged car and notices deep bite marks covering the metal frame. On the surface, Ben spots police lights approaching and tugs on the rope to warn her. But Mika, driven by curiosity, detaches the line and continues investigating. Suddenly she senses something massive moving nearby. She sweeps her flashlight through the dark water, but nothing's there. Hearing sirens closing in above, Mika decides to resurface. By the time she breaks the surface, Ben has fled the scene, leaving her behind. The police arrest Mika on the spot. On the patrol boat, she tells Officer Adele that she was cleaning the river, but he doesn't believe her. As they head toward the station, the officers make a brief stop to warn a group of homeless people that the city plans to clear the area for the upcoming triathlon. By the time Sophia arrives at the bridge, the area is deserted. Still, her tracker continues to pick up Lilith's signal nearby. Following the beacon's direction, she comes across the vagrants' campsite, but it's abandoned except for their dog. The animal stares at the river, growling uneasily. In the shadows beneath the bridge, no one notices the faint movement of a massive fin cutting through the water. The next morning, Officer Adel continues questioning Mika until she finally admits the truth. There's a shark in the river. Adel laughs it off, unconvinced, but the interrogation is interrupted when another officer rushes in to report an emergency. Elsewhere by the riverbank, Sophia continues tracing Lilith's signal. As it grows stronger, she spots a young boy playing near the water and quickly warns him to step back. Before she can react further, the police contact her and escort her to meet Adel and Mika at the scene. They've just discovered the body of a homeless man brutally mauled. One look at the wounds and Sophia immediately confirms they're from a shark attack. Adel takes the report to Chief Onal, but the chief refuses to believe a shark could survive in freshwater without evidence. Determined to prove it, Adel and his team prepare to dive, with Sophia joining them to help guide the search using her tracker. 3 officers descend into the murky river and soon find a massive dead fish, its body marked with deep, jagged bites. Watching from the shore, Mika grows worried. They might be planning to kill Lilith. She calls Ben and pleads with her to disable the shark's tracking beacon. Ben succeeds, and within moments, Sophia and the officers lose the signal. Underwater, the divers spot something enormous moving just beyond their lights. The rope suddenly tightens and Adel and Sophia rush to pull the team back up. Once on the boat, the shaken divers report that something huge was circling them. The sonar confirms it. Lilith is definitely in the river. Adel, frustrated, accuses Sophia of turning off the tracker and putting everyone at risk. Overwhelmed, Sophia's nose begins to bleed from stress and she storms off. She soon spots Mika nearby and follows her to the SOS office. There, the 2 women argue fiercely. Mika insists that sharks never attack without reason, and accuses Sophia of provoking Lilith years ago, causing her team's death. The accusation devastates Sophia, who walks away in anger and pain. Back at the police station, Officer Adele tells Chief Onal that the river must be sealed off immediately, which would mean canceling the Olympic triathlon. Onal hesitates, worried about the mayor's reaction. Meanwhile, Adele searches Sophia online and watches one of her old speeches about climate change. He also learns the truth about Chris and the tragic loss of their research team. The discovery reminds him of his own comrades who never made it back from the war. At the same time, Mika launches a live stream on social media, revealing that a great white shark is living in the river. She urges viewers to protect Lilith, claiming her behavior is the result of climate change and pollution, not malice. She insists the shark deserves to live. After watching the broadcast, Sophia tries to reactivate the beacon, but the signal remains offline. As she leaves work, Adel approaches her, offering an apology for their rough start. He then invites her to attend a meeting with the mayor to discuss the situation. At the mayor's office, Onal, Adel, and Sophia try to explain how dangerous the situation really is. But the mayor, worried about her reputation and the money already spent, refuses to cancel the event. She doesn't want bad press and orders the police to handle the shark before the triathlon begins. Afterward, Sophia tells the officers their best option is to lure Lilith to the bridge area and sedate her. Once she's tranquilized, they can capture her and the Oceanographic Institute will take over. Sophia shows a video explaining that once Lilith is sedated, they'll have only a few minutes to prepare her. Otherwise, she'll suffocate. Just then, Ben rushes in and reports that Lilith's signal is coming from the catacombs near the sewage reservoirs. She also admits she came without telling Mika, who believes Lilith can be guided using sonar. Ben reactivates the tracker on Sophia's computer and shows an old access tunnel beneath the canal that connects the river to the catacombs. Sophia and the officers take a boat to the tunnel, but once inside they must continue on foot. It's too narrow for the boat. The activists are already there and Ben tries to convince Mika not to dive, but Mika ignores her. She jumps into the water with the sonar just before the police arrive to clear everyone out. Mika refuses to leave and tells the others to stay. Suddenly, a huge fin appears in the water and circles her. Moments later, a second fin rises beside it. Judging by the size, Lilith has given birth. The baby shark swims toward Mika and she gently pets it, ignoring Sophia's warnings. Then both fins vanish beneath the surface. Sophia senses an attack coming, but Mika still won't move. Adele dives in to pull Mika out, but she bites his arm and slips away. Then Lilith bursts from the water and devours Mika in a single bite. The massive splash sends waves crashing through the tunnel, knocking people into the water. To Sophia's horror, Lilith turns on her own offspring and kills it, likely reacting to the human scent. With another officer's help, Otto climbs out, and the police begin evacuating the survivors. But the chaos only grows. People keep falling and Lilith attacks anyone within reach. Ben is shoved into the river and Otto tries to save her, but another person knocks him aside while fleeing. Ben disappears beneath the water and is killed too. Many of the activists they manage to rescue are missing limbs, and a furious officer opens fire at the water, but every shot misses. When another officer leans over to help more people, the terrified survivors accidentally pull him in. His teammates rush to save him, but Lilith is stronger and drags him under, devouring him. Inside the tunnel, panic spreads as people trample over each other in a desperate attempt to escape. Bodies pile up and many end up drowning beneath the chaos. Moments later, hospitals are flooded with victims as doctors and nurses struggle to keep up with the incoming wounded. Sophia blames herself for everything, but Otto assures her she did all she could. The baby shark's body is recovered from the river, and Sophia begins studying it in a lab. She observes several mutations indicating it has adapted to freshwater. She also confirms it's a female, and when she dissects the body she finds multiple unborn pups inside. It doesn't make sense. This shark is barely a month old. Sophia concludes that the mutations have enabled Lilith and her offspring to reproduce through parthenogenesis, a process where eggs develop without fertilization. That means Lilith is the first of a new species, and if she isn't stopped, she'll keep creating more like her. During the next meeting with the mayor, the officials report 12 confirmed deaths. A representative from the army accuses them of failing to inform the authorities. Sophia and Otto argue that they did warn the mayor, but she denies knowing enough to act. Sophia demands she tell the truth to the public and cancel the event, but the mayor refuses and orders her to leave. She instructs her team to cover everything up. That afternoon, the mayor appears on television, claiming that rumors of sharks in the river are false and that the triathlon will proceed as planned. At a nearby bar, Sophia and Otto vent their frustration over the situation. Sophia asks why he left the army, and Otto admits that during a rescue mission he panicked and abandoned his squad, leaving them to die. He vows not to make the same mistake again. Moved by his words, Sophia shares a risky plan, one that won't be on the books. Some officers agree to help. With the assistance of 2 bomb experts, they'll locate Lilith's nest inside the catacombs and destroy it with explosives. They'll have to work quickly. Once the bomb is armed, they'll have only 3 minutes to escape before the crypt collapses. Soon after, crowds gather near the river for the event, and soldiers are stationed along the banks to monitor the area. 2 officers plan to approach by boat to support the mission, but the soldiers block them from entering the restricted zone. Since Onal is part of the mayor's security detail, she convinces the soldiers to let her team pass, pretending they're part of the official operation as well. Meanwhile, Otto and Sophia dive in search of the nest. When they ignite a flare, the light reveals dozens of baby sharks swimming above them. One of the young sharks lunges toward them, but they quickly dodge aside. On the surface, the mayor officially starts the event, and hundreds of athletes dive into the river for the swimming portion of the triathlon. Deep below, the bomb experts set the explosives while Sophia positions a sonar to lure Lilith, but she doesn't appear. Suddenly, the baby sharks swarm and attack one of the experts, killing him instantly and causing him to drop the detonator. Sophia orders everyone to stay close and hold position, but the remaining expert swims ahead to retrieve the detonator. The moment he presses the button, the sharks surround and tear him apart. With only 3 minutes left before detonation, Sophia grabs Otto and uses a propeller to speed toward the surface. The bomb explodes behind them, wiping out the baby sharks. The officers on the boat see a massive burst of water and rush to help. They're relieved to find Sophia and Otto alive, though Otto is badly injured. While the others tend to Otto's wounds, Sophia dives back in to confirm the results. Suddenly, Lilith appears, still alive, untouched by the blast. Shocked, Sophia rushes to the surface to warn the team, but before she can react, Lilith slams into the boat, flipping it into the air. The officers are thrown into the water as Lilith tears through them one by one. Only Otto survives, managing to reunite with Sophia as they climb onto the overturned hull. Moments later, Lilith heads toward the triathlon swimmers and begins attacking them, turning the river blood red. The crowd doesn't notice until Lilith leaps out of the water, a swimmer clamped in her jaws. Panic erupts as competitors try to escape and military boats open fire. But Lilith's mutations have made her incredibly fast. She dodges every shot. Onel and Otto scream for the soldiers to stop, warning them that the river is filled with old bombshells. Their warnings go unheard. As chaos spreads through the crowd, another police boat arrives to rescue Sophia and Otto. The soldiers continue shooting from the bridge, and as feared, one of their rounds strikes a bombshell underwater. The first blast is small, but it triggers a chain reaction. One by one, the dormant bombs ignite, setting off massive explosions that collapse 2 bridges. The shockwave rips through the river, blowing manhole covers off the streets. The panicked crowd surges forward, shoving more people into the water. The enormous explosion creates a powerful tsunami that surges through the city, flooding entire blocks. Countless people, including the mayor, are swept away and never seen again. Sophia fights through the current to pull Otto onto the roof of a submerged building. As they catch their breath, they look around in horror. The waters are teeming with sharks. Because the river connects to multiple waterways, Lilith and her offspring have spread across the globe, invading oceans, rivers, and coasts, turning the world's waters into a new domain of terror.